order. For those who care to, please rise for an opening prayer and salute to our flag. Councilmember Mendez, would you open us in a word of prayer, sir?
Our dear gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather tonight. We ask that you lead and guide us to this meeting and be with us the remainder of tonight. It's in your Son's precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first item on the agenda tonight, we're going to turn it over to the Republic Middle School student, Sam Hayes, and his group. And they have a better recycling options. They have a project at school they want to present to council and the city. And by the way, students, just to let you know, you're going to be on TV, so smile when you are. Just make sure you smile and talk real loud so we can get it in the microphone. Mr. Hayes, I'm going to turn it over to you. You have the con, sir. I just want to know which one of you brave enough to sit in the chair.
There's not enough for them, probably, just saying.
Whoever speaks, step up all the way to right behind the chair. There's a microphone there so we can capture it, okay? Be a little closer. There you go. You're good.
Hello everyone, we are the Republic Middle School Recycling Committee, and that includes Garrett, myself, Emma, Noah, Luke, Quinn, and Sarah, and we are here tonight to show you and give you some better ideas and examples of how to make the Republic Recycling Center better and more available for the citizens of Republic.
Okay, so this is why recycling is important to me. So if everyone, even in a small community, recycled, the change would be incredible.
Recycling is important to me because recycling saves things like trees and energy, and both of those things are needed to keep the world a better place.
I think if we made the hours more convenient here in Republic, recycling would be a lot easier and our city wouldn't be as trashed.
I do not want my children to grow up in a pigsty because the earlier generations did not take care of the land.
Recycling is important to me because honestly there's no reason not to recycle.
Recycling is important to me because generations and generations and their kids can live good, long lives without the worry of lost resources.
Now we're going to show you what some of the other communities are doing with their recycling centers.
My section of Missouri was Stratford, and they have good hours. They are open 8 o'clock a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m., Tuesday through Saturday. They are closed Sunday and Monday. Some of the things that they do is curbside recycling, yard waste recycling, household chemical collection, and sanitary landfill. They take aluminum cans, tin cans, cardboard, and other things like that.
Okay, so I did the Willard Recycling Center, and they are open Wednesday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. They have, it is operated by the Willard Public Works Department. They have free curbside pickup, but they do not have any staff on site. And they take tin cans, lids, plastic, paper, and pasteboard.
I did NICSA, and the hours are 8 a.m. to 4:15 p.m. and it's Monday through Saturday, and it is run by the city. And if there's no fee, and if you have a telephone prefix of 724 or 725, you can obtain a permit for $36, and that allows you limited use of the recycling center. And some of the items they take are yard waste, metal cans, mixed paper, glass, and cardboard.
All right, I had Ozark, or Christian County Recycling. They are open from 7:30 a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. On Saturdays, they're closed on Sundays. On Saturdays, they're open 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. and they take tin cans, aerosol cans, paper, soda bottles, and fruit juice containers, like 2-liter bottles and tea containers, anything that's pretty much plastic that comes in soda, fruit, juice, tea, everything like that.
And here's the Republic's information. Their hours are limited, as you can see, from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And they're only open one Saturday a month. Their location is here, 225 South Walnut Avenue. And a service they have is that they have no fee, which is great, but half of the city does not know about the recycling center and hours. And what they take is aluminum cans, metals, paper, cardboard, glass, and plastic.
The mayor requested to do the paper shredding here in Republic, and our Republic paper shredding is ran by Mark Recycling, and their special services are mobile document destruction, on-site destruction for confidential documents, off-site shredding is also available, and then those are some of the phone numbers. Extra information, if you want your recyclables to be picked up, you have to pay a fee of $50, and this is only available on Wednesday. And if you would like to bring your recyclables to the company, it's free and it's open every day of the week. And the company is located right in front of the Republic Recycling Center.
So we sent out a survey to a lot of different people, and this is basically the overview and a lot of the numbers. So there are 402 responses total, and that included students, district employees, and parents/guardians. 85% of the survey takers were residents of Republic. 50% of the residents in Republic did not recycle. No, 50% did recycle. 43% did not recycle. 53 were aware of the recycling center. 28 were aware of the hours. And 46 said they were more likely to recycle if it was made more convenient.
Here are the survey results, and that is
The first question asked was, are you a current resident of the Republic R3 School District? Of the results, 85.2% said yes, and 14% said no. There are 316 current residents of Republic School District that took the survey, and there were 52 that were not current residents. The second question asked was, do you recycle? Of the results, 179 said yes, and 161 said no, and then there were 31 others.
My question was, are you aware of Republic Community Recycling Center? Yes was 53.5%, no was 45.5%, and other was 1%. So yes, some people do know about it, but nearly half of the people that took the survey don't know about the recycling center.
Another question we put on the survey is, are you aware of the Republic's Community Recycling Center and hours? No was 71.6%, and yes was 28.4%. This is clear that we need to make Republic residents more aware of our recycling center.
Okay, so I did how likely would you be to recycle if it was made more convenient? And almost half of the people who took the survey said they would be very likely to recycle if it was more convenient. 32.1% said they were likely, and then 21.4% said they were somewhat likely to recycle if it was made more convenient.
All right, some of the comments that were put in after a bunch of people took the survey were on the slide. We put the most important ones we thought were most important to help bring awareness to Republic Recycling Center. We'll just tell it, this says some of the problems and some of the ways we can help fix it. The ones I'm going to be reading are 2, 3, and 6. And number 2 says, it is very difficult to get my recyclables to the center during their open hours because of my normal working hours. I wish the hours were more convenient. We're doing our best to fix this, but this was one of the main ones that we thought was most important to bring awareness to you guys. 3 says, it would be helpful if they would put in the monitor or have list available of what they do recycle. This is, as you saw in the survey, was one of the biggest things that we needed to help fix. And on bullet point 6 says, it would be very nice if the community had several recycling boxes at various locations throughout the city, much like the donation boxes they have for clothing. That was one of my favorite ones because you all know that there's bunches of donation boxes around the city, and if we put recycling boxes around the city, we think that there would be as much recycling as there is donations.
Okay, so I'm doing some solutions for issues that face the Republic Recycling Center. So printing out inserts to put in the city utility bills to grow awareness of the recycling center, and making people aware that instead of spending money through their trash services to recycle, they can go to the Republic Recycling Center and pay no fee. And then make the hours more convenient for citizens of Republic to recycle. So extend the hours so they have it every Saturday or multiple Saturdays per month. And then possibly placing recycling bins in parking lots of popular stores throughout the city, maybe Price Cutter or Orscheln's. And then create several facility road signs pointing out the location of the center.
We have designed a best-case scenario or some things that can make the recycling center better. And it's a template, I guess, so that way you can change it and make it better for yourselves and for the community. The hours could be 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. That way, when you're going to work, you can drop your recyclables off, or on your way home, you can drop them off as well. Employees. In the summer, we could have students, or just anybody really, volunteer their time to sort out the recyclables. There could also be a few part-time workers, so that way people can't come steal stuff or just mess it up. And then during the school year, the National Junior Honor Society, they could donate some of their time, and because they have donated 15 hours to the public community, so they could help quite a bit. And as Luke was saying, we could put recycling bins in parking lots, but we would need to make sure that they are like the closed bins that are in the gym parking lot. That way people can't steal them and then just sell the recyclables and get the money for themselves. So if we could get the city of Republic to be more aware of recycling, we would have many ways to make it better. Citizens of Republic would like a better recycling center. I hope you all agree with us, and I also hope you all know that it starts with you, the city council.
Great job. Council, do you have any questions for the students? You guys get grilled if that's okay. Sam, is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Council, do you have any questions?
About how much time did you guys put into putting this together? How long have you been working on it?
Probably about a couple months.
Awesome. Good job.
We've been meeting before and after school multiple times a week for probably the last month and a half.
Excellent. A lot of work. Thank you.
Do you have any type of recycling program in middle school?
Yes.
Yes.
You want to take it now?
Sure, all right. Every Friday, there are 8th graders in the month that come by and we have bins in the classrooms that take bottles, aluminum cans, and paper, and they'll come every Friday, and they have a huge kind of wheelbarrow looking thing that will collect all of it, and they will take it to a recycling center.
A question for you. When you were going through your survey, did you find how many people used the trash company for their recycling? Like, for instance, myself, I use that for the convenience factor. But when you asked them how many people recycled and didn't, was it just how many people used the recycling center, or if they recycled in general?
I think a good proportion used recycling centers outside of the city.
And a lot of extra comments were left about how they went through their trash service because the hours were so inconvenient for working individuals.
Sure.
And the one that we found that was most beneficial to the ones that commented was pretty much Willard, around that area.
Guys did a great job.
Yeah, very well organized and some really great solutions, so thank you for putting all that work into it. Good job, guys.
Any other questions, council? Well, ladies and gentlemen, you did a fantastic job. Thank you very much for preparing. You did a great job of digging out the information and presenting as well. You also have given us plenty of time, a lead time. You guys contacted us about a month ago and had it on the schedule, ready to go, and we certainly appreciate that as well. Do you have anything you would like to add?
I would just like to say that if if you guys do help make a difference, that would, I think, make a very increasing amount of people that would want to recycle and want to continue it for generations and generations.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, and we certainly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good job, Dan.
I sat here, strong part of it.
You're the strong silent man, aren't you?
One time you could put your trash, put your recycle things there.
Oh, wrong way.
A lot more trash to
Had a 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
We're our own worst enemies sometimes, aren't we? Imagine how much it costs them to do the free curbside. Imagine how much Willard spends sending two guys around to throw stuff in the back of the pickup. It costs us all kinds of money.
They used to stay over 4 hours. It's bad. I've seen it when
It takes.
it was not just recyclable stuff, like the bins and those things in and after donations.
How many of them using a breathing tonight?
Yeah.
I didn't eat dinner yet. I remember those days.
Right now, the one on the discount store parking lot has 2 huge TVs.
Send away like that. Fair enough. A few other announcements before we get to the real important ones. Mr. Keeling has a birthday on May 4th. Dude, right there, as Dina said,
On
it's right
Star Wars
there.
Day. You want to
Yeah,
talk about off guard.
May
That
the,
was off guard.
may the 4th be with you, right on. Star Wars, who does Star Wars though? Is that you, Mr. Harder?
Harder down there. He broke that out about 3 years ago. I had no idea what he's talking about.
You didn't know that Darth Vader had a wife either, did you?
Oh, no.
Ella?
Wow.
Elevator?
Wow. You went there, didn't you? Anyway, happy birthday. On to other items, I would like to, yes, please. Welcome back, Mr. Jackson.
Gary laughing.
I think you've lost control. You're right, yeah, no, we're in control. Chief Lawton, I'm going to turn it over to you, sir, for the promotion to police corporal and new hiring of police corporal as well.
Well, thank you, and good evening. I just want to take just a couple of minutes. I think it's really important for the council to see the officers that serve this community, particularly the supervisors who are responsible for oversight and making sure that we do the right job for the community. And we recently went through a corporal promotion and a corporal hiring in the department, something we hadn't done in quite some time, and I'm excited tonight, although both have already been sworn in and both are already operating as corporals, so that's good news. We're fully operational already. I did want to make sure that I had the opportunity to introduce them to you. So if I could, I'll start with Corporal Brent Kendall. Brent was promoted to corporal on March 15th this year. He, prior to being promoted to corporal, he worked as a patrol officer for Republic since 2014, and he also had some private security experience with Target. Brent is, so he's been with us a very short period of time, but he made a serious impact in that short period of time on our personnel. He has a strong reputation with his peers strong reputation from his peers, supervisors, and administrative staff as a smart, mature, and unofficial leader within the organization. We've changed that. Now he's an official leader in the organization. We look forward to all that he produces. He also is a problem solver and has a strong work ethic, and that's something we need in the organization. So please help me in recognizing Corporal Brent Kendall, a new corporal to the public. Welcome, sir.
And
And apparently I interrupted a wedding anniversary dinner tonight, so I apologize publicly for calling you in for 5 minutes to do that, but I think it's important.
Thank you.
His or yours?
His.
Okay.
He graciously, when I said, "Are you available?" he graciously said, "Oh, sure."
Absolutely.
Not telling me until just a moment ago that it was his wedding anniversary.
Oh, man.
Congratulations.
Brave, man. He's brave, too.
He's gonna get in trouble. I don't want to be in any more trouble than I already am.
I don't think they make a vest for that.
I also am honored tonight to introduce to you Corporal Brian McCool. Brian is not a promotion. He is a hire as a corporal. So we hired him. We actually hired him back, and I'll explain that in just a second. He was hired as of March 28th, so a couple weeks after Brent. And he is our second corporal, a fourth of corporal that's now in our patrol division. He worked for the Greene County Sheriff's Department as a patrol deputy from April of 2015 until March of this year, so just under a year. And before that, he was a patrol officer with us since 2012, January 2012. So we got the great opportunity to bring him back to Republic. He was selected for the corporal position due to his strong maturity level, quality of law enforcement experience with both Republic and Greene County, and his love for this community. He and I spoke at length about his commitment to this community living here, and I am certain he is the right selection for our second corporal promotion. So please welcome Brian McCool.
Thanks.
McCool. Yeah. Not McQueen, McCool. Boy, I know who. So just real quick, what that does for us currently is it puts us at 6 corporals within the organization. That sounds heavy, but we have 4 assigned to the patrol division, so each sergeant in patrol will have a corporal. That is intended for development of both the corporals and allow for the sergeants to do some oversight on their own and have a midline supervisor below them. And we also have 2 corporals in the investigation division, 6 corporals altogether. So I'm real proud to have us in a position now from a supervisory standpoint to do a very good job for the community. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hold on, Chief. You can't leave yet, Mr. Wilson.
I'm trying to run. There can't be questions about that.
No,
I'm not going to take back either this promotion or this hiring. These are good ones.
No, I just wanted to thank you for the letter you put in your public. Very nice.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I tell you, it's a pleasure to hear those kind of things when I'm out in public and people come up to me and talk to me. And I'll be frank with you, I had a couple of people buy me lunch too, anonymously, but it's quite a thrill. I asked around, and sure enough, I found that it was happening quite often. So I want to make sure we let them know that. We let the public know that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Now can I leave?
After a round of applause. Yes. Chief Collins. Chief Collins. Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right. On to other items on the agenda. Would like to appoint Mrs. Kelly Evans to the Board of Adjustments. Would like to have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Also like to reappoint Mr. Alan Dixon to the Capital Improvements Committee. Would like to have a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Also like to appoint Mr. Denny Robinson to the Capital Improvements Committee.
Motion. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Also like to appoint Ms. Bonnie Williams to the Capital Improvements Committee.
Motion.
Second. Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Also like to appoint Councilmember Gary Wilson to the Capital Improvements Committee.
Motion. Second.
Have a motion and 2 seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? I have 1 abstention. Motion carries 7-0-1. Also like to reappoint Councilmember Daniel Harder to the Capital Improvements Committee.
Motion. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions?
Same.
One abstention, motion carries 701. Thank you very much. No other items on public hearing. I'd like to open it up now to citizen participation. Anyone wishing to speak to anything not on the agenda, please come forward, state your name, give us your best 3 minutes. Seeing none, says the participation closed. I'd like to have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. On the financial report, welcome Mr. O'Donnell.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. This will be brief. We have all of our sales tax information. Money's collected and remitted by the Department of Revenue. I touched on some of it at the last meeting. As you can see from the reports, we matched in our general sales tax and our fire sales tax comparative to March of 2015, $173,183.85 for general and $21,640 even for fire. And happily, we are 18% plus ahead on both categories year to date as compared to 2015. And then for motor fuel tax, we were slightly up versus this month last year at $30,175.04, and we are roughly even, less than 1% comparing year-to-date figures. So that's the story on sales tax for March. One other note, our annual city audit is coming up. Marshall Decker, CPA, will be joining us. He'll be out here May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th for the field work. It is our goal to get, as always, number one, get an unqualified opinion. That's the best you can get. And number two, to have the final audit report ready for council approval at the first meeting in June. So that's that bit of news for you all. And with that, I am done.
Thank you, sir. Questions, comments, discussed for Mr. O'Donnell? Anything at all? Thank you, sirs. Need a motion to approve financial report?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. On the reports of staff, Mr. Keeley, do you have anything, sir?
No, sir.
Mr. Derrickson?
No, sir.
How was your float trip, Mr. Derrickson?
It was a float trip.
It was a float trip. Went on a cruise. We call it a float trip.
You call it a float trip.
Well, he called it a float trip. I just follow up. Thank you, John. Thank you, Mr. Jones, in Ward 3, and you too, Mr. Mendez, in Ward 3. Thank goodness. Shock Ward 4 so quiet tonight. On the future community events, Mr. Keeley?
Certainly. This coming Wednesday, Arthritis Foundation Exercise Program will be held at 1:30 p.m. This is a free event held at the Republic Community Center. April 27th through May the 4th is Senior Wii Bowling. You can contact the Community Center for details. Pre-registration is required. April 27th through May 18th is Toddler Tumbling. We will hold those tumbling classes at 5:30, 6:30, 5:30 or 6:30. That's for ages 2 to 5, and pre-registration is required. This coming Thursday, April 28th, is Senior Movie Day at 3 p.m. The movie is The Martian. It's a free event. Free popcorn and free coffee are provided. May 2nd and 9th is Toddler Open Gym. Those are Mondays. That program is held at 9 a.m. It's for ages 0 to 5. May 3rd and 5th is, once again, Arthritis Foundation Exercise Program at 1:30 p.m. May the 6th is our next event at the AMP. The movie will be Jurassic World. The movie starts at 8 p.m. I do want to say we held our opening night there last Friday, and we had by far a record turnout. We've had approximately close to around 400, 450 people there. It's absolutely amazing.
Wow.
Full.
My wife said it was packed, the biggest she's ever seen.
It was really, really good. Really good sets the tone for us well in Season 3. I do want to say a public thank you to Charlie. He continues to come out and take the pictures for our events, and I really appreciate that, Charlie. Thank you very much. May 6th to the 27th is Todd Academy. The program is held on Fridays at 9:30 a.m. or 10:45 a.m. And that's for ages 2 to 5, and pre-registration is required.
Thank you, sir. On the Board Commission Committee schedule, Board of Adjustments May 5th, Capital Improvements Committee May 25th. City Council meetings is May 9th and May 23rd, Planning and Zoning Commission May 16th. On the next item on the agenda, we're at old business and tabled items. Resolution number 16-R-35 was tabled from the last meeting. Would like to have a motion to remove resolution number 16-R-35 from the table.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Council, as it has been removed from the table, it is a resolution. It has been read. We've had that motion and a second for a reading. We are at the point of continued discussion. We are also at a point, the resolution is open-ended. We do have to choose a design number, put that in. So let this discussion begin. There's options listed there. In order to complete the resolution, we do need a motion to approve one of the options to put in there. We can choose as many as we want. You can have all the discussion you want. So, council, discussion is yours. Mr. Mendez.
I'd like to make a motion for option 1.
Make a motion for option number 1. Do I have a second?
Are we making more than one motion?
Well, he's made a motion to take option 1. So far, I have a motion on the table and no second. Okay. Seeing none, Mr. Mendez, that motion has failed.
Okay.
Sorry. It is what it is. Continue discussion, Mr. Bashirs.
That one's out of the way.
Option 7.
Take a motion for option 7. Mr.
I'll
Bashirs
second that.
has made a motion for option 7. Ms. Poole has seconded that. Okay, any discussion on that particular item? Any discussion at all? Since we do have upwards of 12 options, upwards of 12 options, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on option 7?
Well, I'll discuss it here.
What are you going to do, Mr. Bashirs?
I made the motion. I like the old emblem. I like the old sign down Main Street too, 16, yes. But the emblem here is a little bit smaller than what we had some last time. I think the old bold smaller looks better. I like the orange in that it does incorporate school colors. So I guess those are the main two items. It's not real busy. That's just what I like.
Okay. Additional discussion. Comments? Ms. Poole, go ahead.
Well, on 7, the orange is more balanced than it is when it's at the bottom and none at the top. And it just, the orange balances it out better, I think, the way it's. And I've asked several people and showed them and they almost all went for that one.
Fair enough. Mr. Quickenbeard.
Charlie, you'll probably know this. Do all the schools have use the same mascot and colors, or are they different?
No, it's a trademark. Brand, it's all the same.
Everything's the same. So, obviously the city's going to grow. If you get another junior high or another high school, or they're not going to go with a different logo, name, and colors?
The Tiger logo we have is actually MU's Tiger, but we have permission from them to use that with a different color.
So, but, for instance, in my hometown, we had multiple high schools, and we couldn't all be the same name. So we had different colors and different mascots for all of those high schools.
The school has the same color and the same mascot in all schools.
In all schools? Okay. For a city that's smaller, that's typically, but as they grow, that may have to change at some point. But I was just asking, I appreciate that.
Mr. Wilson?
If we go with this flag, I would prefer the growing together to be a brighter color, so it'd be red and more noticeable. The light colors at distance might be my eyesight, but
I think that sounds like a good idea, Gary.
otherwise, I don't really care.
He would.
Otherwise, he didn't really care. That's what he said. I'm just passing along.
Just for clarity there, Mr. Wilson, or would you like it to be as dark as a black?
It can still be green.
It would
Needs
look
to
good
be
black
more,
because the top's black.
just so you can read it.
I'm sorry, I missed your comment.
Just so you can read it,
Okay.
because on the city limit signs that growing together, it's kind of an orange color, so it's next to impossible to read.
I like black.
I think the black would look better with this.
If that's an option, I think it just fits.
So you can try it.
It's black now, but make it more bold.
Okay.
Do you need to darken the Missouri too? Or do you not, that's not as significant?
That's right. Additional comments, questions? Mr. Smith?
Yeah, my sister, she's a marketing major. I talked to her about all the different flags, and she said if we're gonna stick with the old logo, that was her favorite option, and because it was the least busy. She said if you want to keep some of the older audience, she said if you change everything all at once, you may lose some of that older audience, where if we change it gradually, and if next time, another 20 years down the road, decide to do a flag, and you go with just one half of that logo, then you eventually phase it out. She said it also looked too busy by the same token in her book. She said that was a lot of stuff on a flag. It didn't look real clean. She said it was nice. She said, but for a city flag, it looked like it was too busy. So that, out of all the ones that have the old logo on it, it's probably my favorite. So, but that is one thing that she mentioned. She said, they go back and forth on whether or not to take away a piece, take away all the old at once, to do it gradually. That way you don't lose some of your audience.
I won't be here to argue with you 20 years from now, so.
You never know, Ms. Poole, you
I'll
keep getting
bet you
reelected.
I really don't think so.
Additional comments, questions? Okay. On that particular motion, there is a motion to add option number 7 in the packet. In this particular vote, since there's so many options, upwards of 12, as I indicated earlier, let's go ahead and vote by seven. You have a question, Mr. Mendez?
Do we need to make a motion to change the color on it, or is that just a decision that's going to be made
It won't be
outside of
changing, it'll just be darker.
And that's a green color.
Is it green?
Yes.
That is correct, it's green.
Doesn't look green on mine.
It doesn't on here, you're absolutely right, it is green.
It's color copy.
It's very close.
Yeah.
It is very close.
On the
Well,
paper.
black would look much better.
To answer your question, Mr. Mendez, that can be made after everything. If it passes, that can be made afterwards.
Okay.
You can make it closer to the green that's on the printing cost on it. If you keep the color that have to be printed, it'll make it, it is, it's just that it's thinner.
It's because of the font.
Sure.
Doesn't
Gotcha.
show as green. Black would be a better option.
I think it's black on your copy, too.
Anything else, council? You're at option number 7 now. Okay. By show of hands, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Try to keep them up so I can count. Yeah, I just want to make sure. Okay. That's 6 opposed, 2. That motion carries 6-2. Now, you have that particular option now in the resolution itself. So now the approval of the resolution comes. Any further discussion or conversation on this particular item?
I'd like to amend that the color be black on growing together.
Second.
I'd like to have amendment to that, motion to amend. A motion and a second to make the color black. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? That motion carries. Thank you. Any other further discussion, comments? Anything else?
I do think it's interesting that, I'm sure Jeff got feedback also from people and citizens of our wards, and more of them went with the newer designs without the old logos on it. So you can definitely tell an age difference. It's kind of interesting to look at. So.
Good point. Any further discussion, comments, or questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? That motion carries 8-0. Thank you very much.
One follow-up item.
Good.
Excuse me, Mayor. We will get this flag design to the flag companies and the designers. We anticipate those to begin flying somewhere around mid to late June.
Fair enough. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
One other question. Will there be changes to other city logos, or did we skirt that?
This is just for the flag.
Okay.
The more modern logo that we opted for in 2009 is all on all of our trucks, city limit signs, et cetera, and those will not be changed.
Okay, thank you.
At one time, it was before they changed it to the R with the, whatever it is in it. There was, the trucks had all the same as our old logo, the one that's in the new flag.
That's correct.
And you could see those. You can't hardly see the one that we have now until you get right up on a truck.
We can darken that up for you, Ms. Poole.
Huh?
We can darken that up for you.
Well, that might be good.
Okay. Mr. Brock? Can you do that, sir?
I'm listening, Mayor.
Good. Just want to make sure you're still awake, sir. Because your trucks, I think, are the ones that are seen all the time. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good deal. Anything else? I think we're on other business, resolution number 16-R-40, resolution of the City Council of the City Republic of Missouri concerning the appointment of municipal judges and municipal presiding judge and authorizing the city administrator to take the necessary action to implement the appointments. Like to have a motion?
Motion. Second.
A motion and a second. Mr. Derrickson, would you give us the overview, sir? Even though it says Mr. Keeling, he's deferred to you and...
He dumped it off on me.
Good.
The charter requires that every even-numbered election year that the judges be reappointed for a 2-year term. The mayor makes a recommendation, council votes on that, and that's what's before you. The mayor's making a recommendation that we basically keep the same judges that we've had the last 2 years, along with Ryan Ricketts being the designated as a presiding municipal judge.
Correct. Questions, comments, discussion? Anything at all? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. On to the next item on the agenda, resolution number 16-R-41, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, awarding a bid for the commercial mower, authorizing the immediate purchase thereof. I'd like to have a motion.
Motion.
Welcome, Mr. Brock. Give us the overview, sir.
Give me a second.
Oh, give me a second.
Second.
Thank you. Got a motion in 1 second. Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Brock. You got me confused with your orange shirt. Looked like a traffic cone. But I like it.
Can you read the,
Yes, I can read that. I can't read the Missouri. Miss Poole, can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good deal.
Can you read it?
I can read it,
Now she's
but
bragging.
on a...
On a truck, I understand.
It's not on a truck.
I agree.
He's not driving, he's not running down the road.
Very nice. Could you go to the street?
Just run across the window real quick.
Mr. Brock, would you please give us an overview of what council members take?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Late last year, we discovered the commercial mower used by our water division was damaged. Over the winter, we had the repair shop look at it, and they advised that the mowing deck was bowed so bad that
The cost of repairs would probably reach about 50% of the cost of a new mower. So we've solicited we solicited 3 different vendors: Larson Farm and Lawn, Legacy Farm and Lawn, and then another distributor out of Clinton. Larson and Legacy were the only 2 that returned bids for us. This was for a John Deere Z93M commercial mower. Our low bidder was Larson Farm and Lawn at $7,705. And so this resolution is requesting permission to award the bid and authorize expenditure to purchase that replacement mower.
Questions, comments, discussed from Mr. Brock?
What are we gonna do with the old one?
It is going to be examined by the Parks Department. They may be able to either put it to use in a less visible location. It's bowed, and so the cut is really uneven. It's also possible
That's the soccer
with a
field.
little Dr. Frankenstein work and a good welder, you could get that a little better condition. I don't think they have any of the same mowers, but otherwise the unit's in good shape. It's got a good mower on it, or a good motor. If the Parks Department doesn't want it, then we would go through our normal surplus equipment procedure to get rid of that.
Thank you.
Additional questions, comments, discussion? Anything at all? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. On the next item on the agenda.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Resolution number 16-R-42, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Republic, Missouri, authorizing the execution of an agreement to outsource the printing and mailing of monthly customer utility bills. Would like to have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Welcome, Mr. O'Donnell. Do you have any updates, sir?
1 minute into the game, no score.
The game is actually 1-0 Blues.
Now, you a Blues fan because you're from St. Louis.
Blues fan.
That's why they're sitting in opposite ends of the bench. Even though they're here together tonight, they're sitting at opposite ends, just want to let you know.
I thought you told me you were just here to catch the meeting.
I enjoy coming to council meetings.
I just had to say it
And
because
Dad's a Blackhawks fan.
I knew these 2 were watching the game. I figured I'd just give a little jab.
They
in.
must have just
They did
scored.
one minute into the game.
Very nice.
1 minute.
So they pretty much like won, right?
I think they just know, they canceled it.
Mr. O'Donnell, will you give us the overview, sir, before Mr. Carl gets out of hand?
Gotta love that coach's challenge. Okay. Beginning in January, I had been talking with the utility billing supervisor as we had a situation with respect to the equipment that we use to prepare our monthly utility bills and more often than not, the city newsletter to be mailed out, usually by the 25th of the month. That equipment is coming near the end of their 5-year leases, and which will be expiring, quite frankly, at the end of this month. And so we were looking at various options. Rather than add on costs with either taking on a maintenance agreement or possibly a new 5-year lease on such equipment, we explored the possibility of outsourcing the printing and mailing of the newsletter and utility bills and see what kind of cost savings we could derive. We contacted 3 firms that provide the services: Pitney Bowes, Postal Pros, and Dataforms Incorporated. You see in the exhibit that we have total cost from each of them and an average cost per bill based on an average of 6,200 bills per month, plus the citizen newsletter, which is usually 2 sheets, both sides. Doing an internal review, we calculated and estimated that doing it the way we're doing it right now, it's costing us $4,280 per month, labor and materials. So bottom line is we have a possibility of saving approximately $631 per month if we outsource this part of our utility billing process. Also, happily, we do not reduce any positions because making these changes. As a matter of fact, what I'd like to do is pass out, no, not because I'm a Blackhawks fan, but pass out some information for council's benefits. One of the things that we can do by freeing up time and manpower is working on projects such as a restructuring of our routes. Our meter reader technicians go through these routes every month to measure the consumption for the previous month that produces our utility bills. As you can see, the routes have evolved over time with the growth of the city. And as you can also see, some routes are not conducive. Example, Route 12 stretches all the way from the western side of the city, heading up northeast, practically flanking Highway 60, and as opposed to some other ones which are a little bit more contained. So the goal is to restructure the routes such that it is not that arduous for our meter readers, and we can get some efficiencies there as well. And also plan ahead as the city grows with time, and as we re-look at these routes with the growth. So that's one project that has never had the time or the manpower devoted to it. And so outsourcing will give us that time and manpower and efficiencies. Also, with respect to the equipment, since that utility billing is pretty much takes up the lion's share of the wear and tear on those machines, granted we will still need them for other projects. One that comes to mind is that we use them for those employees who do not have their pay stubs emailed, but prefer paper stubs. We still provide those, and we'll still need that machine for putting those into envelopes that are usually then picked up by the department heads on payday. And also, what I also want to mention is that we have also asked representatives of Dataforms, Mr. Patrick Carney and Mr. Jay Hayward, to join us tonight, and I'm happy to welcome and introduce them and make them available as well for any questions that council may have regarding the process or in general what Dataforms Inc. can do for the city. So with that, questions?
Thank you, sir. Questions, comments, discussion from Mr. O'Donnell and two representatives from Dataforms. Mr. Wilson?
Okay. And I'm going to ask the gentleman to stand up and join me up here to make life a little simpler.
Blues fans or Chicago fans? Blues fans or Chicago fans?
Oh, neither on my part, I'm afraid.
See, we have some...
No dog in that fight.
You're not answering.
I was born and raised in Kansas City, so I'm a Royals fan.
Yeah, of course. Smart guy over there.
So at least we got some neutrality up there.
Exactly. I got nothing. Mr. Wilson, go ahead, sir.
Okay, my question was, if we outsource this, will it add to or take away from the time that the citizens receive their bill?
Our goal is to still keep to our getting the bills out by the 25th of the month. What this will also encompass is that we will need to get the appropriate data files to Dataforms a little earlier than usual. I think, and Patrick, do you want to chime in on this as well? I believe it's...
Sure. We asked that the data file be provided to us basically 2 business days before you want the bills to go out. So 2 business days before the 25th, and we'll have them out on the 25th. The newsletter, we print that through one of our suppliers, so we need 6 days to do that. What we've discussed is that would be standard procedure, and then there would be there'd be a rush charge if it falls short of that 6 days. So it's basically a difference between 5 cents for the newsletter to 12 cents if it's not in our hands within 6 days when we need a mail.
Brenda's always on me about being late with the newsletter, aren't you, Brenda?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes, sir, yeah. So
we're hoping to provide some incentive here.
yeah, you just provided me some. Thank you. Good question. Did that answer your question, Mr. Wilson? Yes. Okay. Mr. Brashears, go ahead, and then Mr. Mendez.
And John, you mentioned the equipment that we're currently using, the lease was up, wasn't it?
That's correct. So,
That you-
we could look then at some options in terms of either, depending on, like I said, I'm figuring that since they're not going to be as used as heavily as before, that we can still get some use out of them for the light projects, such as the pay stubs, which is every 2 weeks, and I believe there's only probably about, I don't have a specific number, I'm saying the minority, if there's a minority of employees that still want paper stubs, so I'm going to guesstimate around 50.
So would that include a new lease agreement on that equipment?
No, because once these leases are up, we basically own the equipment.
Would you get a service agreement?
Potentially, and so I'd have to relook at that to see how much we're talking about here. The only service, and also look at possible alternatives to that, the only service agreement I have right now is Pitney Bowes is our lessor on these machines, and so to do up a 1-year agreement, they were talking in the neighborhood of about $2,600, but that also encompasses not only the 2 pieces of equipment back in utility billing, but also our postage meter as well. So, and that lease is not up until the end of July. So we have a little bit of time there to maneuver. So, but that's something that we would have to look at and see what our complete options are there, as opposed to getting into a brand new lease. I believe the only and I have not explored that yet, pending what we do here tonight on the outsourcing. And as I stated in the exhibit, if we decide to keep the process in-house, I would have to come back to you next meeting with a complete listing of what we have to look at out there. Pitney Bowes, to replace those machines with a new 5-year lease, we're talking about $534 a month times 60 months, so roughly in the $30,000 range.
I'm just trying to get a handle on the actual cost. I understand about freeing up people working on the projects, I understand that. But at the same time, you have a bottom line figure of what this would cost. I feel it's going to be more. Do you know how much more?
Not at this point, but I can look into that and get back to you and counsel directly on that.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
The outsourcing is saving $600 a month though, correct?
Yes, it is.
I can't imagine a service plan or whatever being $600 a month to keep that old copier in service.
Right.
So at least, and this will let others know, there are some longer term goals to move to maybe some other platforms and things. This is a step that will buy us some time in the meantime, where we don't have to commit to another 5-year deal on a new machine, when in 12 months or less or more, they might move to electronic billing or other types of things.
That was going to be my question. Can we not look at electronic options even with these companies? Do you guys offer that?
Sure.
Can we look at that? Because that
We
to me
can
seems like a way
absolutely.
to...
We can look at that. We can look at e-billing down the road, and I think we also need to take into account, as we transition toward e-billing, how that will be received by our customers, our residents, because there's going to be those who would favor electronic communications, and there would be those who still enjoy getting a paper bill or the paper newsletter every month. So we have to be aware of customer preferences as we go forward and as we try to transition. I totally agree. I would love to see this thing get to
even make
e-billing
it
at some
optional.
point.
Even at this point, can we not make it optional to reduce the 68 cents per
We
bill
can.
cost?
We'd be moving toward a sort of a hybrid where we have, quite frankly, there will be those customers who would like it one way, those customers who like it the other way. So, but we need to get some more data, some information, and also possibly have council members poll their constituents and bring us some feedback as well to say, what's the general consensus as we go forward here.
Can we get some information on that? Because to me it seems like it would be a good option to have. I know that a lot of places give you the ability to do either or, and to me it just seems like it might, if you guys do it, might not be that hard to accommodate here, would it?
We're totally in agreement, and we can look at that and bring that back to council once we have more information. Right now, I'm trying to put this on the table because of the immediacy of the leases that are expiring, and then also to put it on the radar screen of everybody, what is our general strategy going forward as we bring the city toward an electronic platform for the benefit, and again, for the benefit of our residents. That's first and foremost.
I agree.
Councilmember Mendez, I talked to Jared and also John in great lengths about some of the things we discussed on the IT committee and the long-term goal of getting some of the apps into the cloud and doing electronic billing and how we could save some money, especially with now that our website's online. This is kind of a stopgap. We need to do it immediately so we don't have to re-sign a 5-year lease and then really put us in a position where we can't make this other types of changes over the next few months or years.
Sure.
So, but
I
I
understand.
should have looped you in on that a little bit more, but I just, when I got that Friday, that's the first thing I did was reached out to them.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I understand what you're saying, and I think...
Because I was worried that we'd be getting into like a 5-year plan with data forms, and this is just a, we can get out of it whenever we want.
You're right, and to Dataform's credit, they have kept the term pretty much loose. As long as we need it, they are happy to provide it. We're not, as you say, we're not locked in.
No, you're not locked in. The only thing is that the pricing that we have discussed here is based on us printing a 6-month supply at most of your bills and envelopes. So there'll be at most at any time 6 months. So we've just been talking about if you're looking to change anything, just keep that kind of 6-month timeline in mind, and usually it'll be less than that, but that would be the most that we have in stock.
Depending on when we caught you in that cycle, that would be the longest.
Yep.
The last point I'll make is I understand the long-term goals with the website and being able to use that for the e-billing solution. If they offer the service and we're sending them the data file, and this is a stopgap, would that be an option along with printing in the stopgap, is my question specifically.
Sure. What you end up doing is reducing the bulk of their mailing, so then you increase their cost, because if you have half of them go to electronic. The other thing is then you put them all in one billing portal, and it may not be compatible with what we want to do with the new accounting system or the billing that they do with Summit if they keep Summit. There's a lot of other things in there that you may not immediately want to go to Dataform's electronic billing.
It's interesting that those are assumptions, and it'd be interesting to know what the actual facts are there.
Yeah. That's what I jumped on Friday. I just wanted to make sure so we could get that quickly, that we weren't locked into a long-term issue here.
I get that. I totally get that piece.
Otherwise, I would have shot this down, but, it's either sign a 5-year lease on a copier this month or sign a short-term deal with Dataform.
I'm not disputing the solution at all. I'm disputing the terms of the stopgap solution, or not disputing them. I'm asking if there are options in the stopgap solution.
I agree.
So there are some increased, paper costs with lowering quantity of the physical items, but the portion of the customers that you were able to switch to e-billing, you're going to save. Basically, what we do is we just take the postage fully off, and that's generally a much bigger savings than you would see, increased by the decreased quantity.
So there is the potential for savings there.
It would definitely be savings.
So out of your 58-cent fee or whatever, you would gain the 48 cents on the stamp, but you might pay instead of the 10-cent more that you're paying, you might pay 12 cents a person more, but if you're saving, or 15, or whatever that number might be, but you're going to save the 48-cent stamp, which is way off going to offset.
That's the general idea, yeah.
So, like you said, Jason, there may be some in-between where you can save there.
Just looking for options. I mean, it's definitely a way to cut costs,
That was my question. What's our cost savings going to be if we were to do something, a combined effort, if it's going to save us money? And then
I'm just saying it'd be interesting to know that.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be, somewhere in the ballpark of 38 cents, 38 cents per recipient, minus whatever extra it's costing to, produce fewer reforms.
I was going to say, you're paying 37.9 if I read the information right, 37.9 on postage, and then printing costs, paper costs, all that stuff add up to 58.85.
Correct.
If I'm correct. So, to your point, if you take 100 customers right off the bat, you're saving 100 customers multiplied by .379. That's correct. and then the increased printing costs. Let's say they went up, a couple cents, 5 cents, 10 cents, subtract that off, you're saving a quarter, roughly, just use raw numbers, roughly a quarter a person.
Yep.
So,
That's
So
general.
it would depend on your conversion rate to electronic billing, which I know our ward would probably be the heavy bulk of that.
And we could do a little bit of playing around with the numbers if you guys had some hypotheticals of how many you thought might switch. I could pretty easily give you some numbers on, what that would look like.
If we say go tomorrow and you ramp up, you're gonna print 6 months worth of paper though. So if we decide to switch, just moving some people to electronic, would that mean we'd have to wait till the end of the 6 months? Or if we could start in 3, you'd just have extra paper that would probably run you out an extra month?
Right now, we've got a little bit of extra inventory for you guys that we can just kind of roll over into, the per piece cost, if that's what everybody decides to do. And then after that, yes, we would print 6 months worth, and which would turn into a little more than 6 months worth if, whatever portion is switched over to.
Sure.
Mr. Bashir?
This won't help us tonight, but, agreements that we have, lease agreements, contracts, and so forth, we knew in this case 5 years ago that this lease was going to be up now. And if we knew about this, meetings before tonight, it gives us a little more time to think about and look into options. I don't personally like to be given an option. I mean, you did now. The release is up in 10 days. That's something that's
That's why I would agree, and when I got that, I immediately reached out to them because I was making sure we weren't getting off course with some of the long-term plans that we had. But I agree.
Good discussion. Additional questions, comment, discussion. Mr. Smith?
Would you guys be able to demonstrate that to our billing department for this, of how the e-billing would work on their side also? If people get on there and pay it, how it comes to them, how it gets back and everything like that, you guys be able to demonstrate that for them? To make sure that they're all right with it working?
It would be my understanding, we would continue to have the electronic portal we have in place. It would just be receiving the bills. So right now, you can pay your bill online, right?
Oh, yes.
That would not change.
No, that does
It's
not
very,
change.
very rudimentary, but we can.
I mean, it's how I do it,
But you have to know your account number and how much it is, and you can't go back and look at old bills, it's not a true solution.
Plus,
My paper bill in front.
we have to understand our customer's demographic is, as we transition to an e-billing solution, then you're asking for more personal information, and people are going to be very careful in this day and age of electronic hacking. And Jeff, you know where I'm going with all of this, you and Jason. There is going to be that psychological front to overcome as well as we transition toward this kind of a platform. So yeah, we may be asking for, and I don't know if that's the case here, that's something else that needs to be discussed as well.
Well, like Ms. Brenda said, this part of it would just be emailing them their bill instead of mailing them their bill. So it wouldn't really change the portal for paying online.
No, it doesn't. It's just a short-term solution for delivery.
Sure.
Period.
A convenience factor. But if you sell it as like the middle school that was earlier on the recycling, that's another way to save paper. It's for people to take their bill electronically.
I want to make sure, note, I'm not advocating for a transition to paperless billing. I'm advocating for options, right? Because there are going to be that senior citizen demographic or demographic that they want the hard paper in their hands, and we should, certainly honor that.
And lucky for them, we'd have 2 options. So.
Thank you.
Additional questions, comments, discussion? Good discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions?
Yes.
1 abstention. Motion carries 7-0 to 1. That conducts all our business for this particular meeting. Thank you, Mr. Bell. Thank you, gentlemen. Any motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
On the motion is second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.